Well, I mean, it's everywhere now, and one can't imagine an educational system without it. You must have one computer in every village. We have a problem now because we don't have power or telephone lines in remote areas, but those problems will be solved by various means. I'm very keen on solar power because solar power can run that sort of low energy system. And of course we can use satellites for communications, even we can't get the fiber optics. But I mean, without communications, you know, society can't exist. I'm very fond of saying that man is a communicating animal, woman even more so. Rather sexist remark, perhaps.
In the last year or 2 years, a new technology has evolved called peer-to-peer computing, where large numbers of computers are connected over the internet to perform specific functions.
This is dial-F for Frankenstein starting.
We'll go back to that in a minute. One of the applications that it's being used for is to process data from the various radio telescopes in search for extraterrestrial intelligence, so far without success. What do you think our chances are of succeeding?
I'm reasonably confident in the long run, you know, we will discover or be discovered. At the moment, of course, there's not the slightest evidence. I'm sorry to say that a lot of idiots all over the United States claim to see flying saucers every day, and what they're seeing, and they're already seeing something, but there's lots of satellites up there. People don't realize what they are, and they see three lights moving together. You know, it's a new Navy system or whatever, but they say, oh no, I've seen a flying saucer. And, you know, the best proof, somebody said, that there's intelligent life in outer space is the fact that it hasn't come here.
All right, let's say that 3 years from now, we are successful, that we analyze some data from radio telescopes, it ends up having patterns which, absolutely without a doubt, have to have been centered on from some intelligent life. It of course comes from something so far away that getting a message back to them will take many, many centuries. But we now have proof that there's life. How's the world going to react?
There's been a lot of discussion of this, and my friends in SETI, the Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence, there are two points of view. One is it'll be a momentary sensation, and then people will sort of, well, we knew this all along kind of thing, and it doesn't affect our everyday life. But in the long run, of course, it would have a profound effect on human philosophy. It'll probably wipe out any surviving religions. And of course, it would be one of the most important discoveries. Even the discovery of life, not just intelligence. And here I'm very puzzled. I'm convinced now there's life on Mars. Some of the Malin images seem to me no other possible interpretation than plants or trees or their equivalent. But no one seems to be taking the slightest notice of it.
If we just can't handle
the
thought of
there are
whether
some space probes heading towards Mars, and hopefully land the Beagle and a few others, but this still takes years to get this something going.
Right, and Vince Cerf, who's one of the fathers of the internet, is hard at work with NASA on extending the internet protocol so that it'll be possible to use internet on Mars when they get there, and presumably other places also.
Yes.
What do you think of that? What are the issues and problems?
Well, the big problem, of course, is the time lag, which is a nuisance. It takes you up to half an hour to get the message to Mars and back, in several minutes in the best possible case. But obviously we need that communication networks. But we can't, I think somebody wrote don't talk, telegraph,
Right. Right.
Use Western Union.
One of the things that's intriguing, and I think it shows up in one of your stories, is what we now know about DNA and the construction of the human being. We know that DNA is composed of a small number of particles which are put together in certain ways, and so we can all be reduced to binary strings, fairly long. I was talking with somebody at New York University about this recently, and he said that the most common operations that are performed on DNA are cut, copy, and paste. And it makes you feel a little bit strange when you hear that. So if we can all be reduced to a binary string of some long length, what are the possibilities ultimately of replication, of transmission, and of change through digital means?
possibilities are almost unlimited. Incidentally, there's a project to send my DNA out into space on some space probe. It's planned in a few years' time. And if all goes well, this will turn up in some star system in a few centuries, and if they read the instructions carefully, I'll be cloned. And I thought of writing a short story, sort of Clarke Clones Conquer the Cosmos. You know.
You should write it now for publication, 50 years from now. You mentioned Dial F for Frankenstein before. If I remember correctly, the critical issue there was the number of interconnected switches in the telephone systems were suddenly equal to the number of neurons in a brain, and it became conscious. I don't think we have to worry about the computers on the internet becoming conscious in that sense. However, what do you think the chances are that we will be able to develop computers using some technology or another which achieve what we would call consciousness?
I think there's no doubt about it. I'm fond of quoting Marvin Minsky, who someone asked him, "Can a machine think?" And he answered, "I'm a machine and I think." That's it.
QED.
Any prognosis as to how long?
No, again, this curve, yeah. I'd say 50 years at the outside.
Arthur, the videotape that we're making here today in your office is going to be seen by a large number of members of a professional society who will have a lot to do with.
And how many aliens and ETs?
I don't know.
They're disguised enough that we can't tell. But we have our suspicions about some.
But whether they're human or aliens or ETs, they're going to be involved in structuring the internet and its uses. And we've been asking you questions and not giving you a chance to talk in free form, and we'd like to know, what advice do you have for these people? What can you tell them that would inform how they might think of developing the internet and using it?
Well, frankly, it does everything I need, and I really can't think of anything more I require. And with Google and the various search things, I can find things I never dreamt I could locate in a lifetime, and there they are in a second. That's a revolution. It's as big a revolution in a way as the development of printing. It's hard for us to realize how scholars could exist before the printing presses, and and everything had to be handwritten. Well, this is almost as big a jump.
Does this obviate the need for librarians?
Who is it? Oh, in the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, I think he says that the librarian is the highest form of life. No, maybe they'll change their name, to webmasters or something.
I'm sure the people hearing this will appreciate that remark.
Yes, I mean, there's always people who want help. They can't know where things are, so you always need some kind of assistance.
Arthur, you have several things on your desk here that intrigue me, and I'm wondering if there's a very large crystal statue over there. What is that? Could you tell us what's behind that?
Von Karman Wings Award. Now, Theodor von Karman, who was a Hungarian, really the founder of high-speed aerodynamics, and one of the founders of Jet Propulsion Laboratory, had a colossal impact on the development of aviation. Say, he was originally Hungarian. I met him a few times, and I have one vivid memory of him at a conference. He was lecturing, and like all Hungarians, he was rather fond of the ladies. And there was a rather beautiful, handsome lady sitting next to me, who happened to be my wife. And it became obvious that Theodore was getting a bit distracted, and the talk rambled on. And Marilyn whispered to me, "If I left now, do you think he would stop talking?" I can't remember whether she did or he did. No, he was a very great man, and I appreciate that very handsome award.